Councillors. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to draw this final meeting of 2016, December 19th, of the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln to order. And I would ask you all to rise for the national anthem. Thank you very much. If you would be seated. And Council, I would like to call for a 2-minute recess, if you don't mind. Just give me 2 minutes. My apologies. I failed to get completely dressed before I came into the chambers. I'll call the meeting to order. Next on the agenda is the roll call. Councillor Paul McPherson to my left. Councillor Rinjima, Diane Rinjima. Councillor John Pachariva. Councillor Wayne McMillan. On my right, Councillor Rob Foster, Deputy Mayor Rob Foster. Councillor Dave Thompson, Councillor Lynn Timmers, and Councillor Tony Bernay. And on my right is Mr. William Colassa, the Clerk of the Town of Lincoln. On my left, Mr. Kirkopoulos, the Chief Administrative Officer. In the gallery, we have Dave Graham, the Director of Public Works Infrastructure, Amanda Fife, the Director of Finance. We have Helen Booth, our Manager of Museums. Greg Hudson is the Chief of the Fire Service. Kathleen Dale, Director of Planning. And we have Carrie Beatty sitting in the front row of the gallery, and behind her is Angela Safani. Carrie is our information specialist. Angela Safani is our finance treasurer. And behind her, and now this always happens, Rosalie, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Confirmation of agenda. Is there any change? Are there any changes at all? Any adjustments? Thank you. First item on the agenda of business is the Council of the Town of Lincoln meeting of December 5th. Those minutes, I have a motion moved by Councillor Rinjima, seconded by Councillor McPherson, that the minutes of the December 5th, 2016 regular meeting of Council be adopted as circulated. Are there any errors or omissions? Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes, councillors? There being no business arising from the minutes, I'll move on to the mayor's report. Needless to say, this has been a very busy month. All kinds of activities taking place, whether it's the fire station for dinner that the mayor's office usually gets an invitation to. And there were all kinds of other activities in the town. The Jordan Lions brought Santa to town a couple of weekends ago. It's a pretty unique experience when Santa arrives on a flatbed truck with a big sleigh in the back and travels around. I think it's very rural, it's very unique, and it certainly is a custom that we wouldn't want to see lost. The chamber had their Mingle and Jingle, which is always great fun, and it's always a good turnout, and good to see all the business leaders out there. This past Saturday, we had the Miracle on Main Street. I'll let Councillor McPherson go into detail on that, but I just want to thank everyone involved for great planning, and the turnout was very, very good for sure. And to the town staff for keeping the street in such good condition, getting the snow off of it, and all of those little details. Very much appreciated. Councillor Rob Foster, our budget chief, is going to review the process and the outcome of the budget, so I won't go into detail. However, I want to thank all the members of the public who responded so well to the information that Carrie Beatty and Mike sent out as we went through each phase, and to you, Luke, for reporting as well in the Grimsby Lincoln News. I feel that is partly what encouraged people to get involved and take more time to give us feedback. And they did that. Sometimes they agreed, and other times they wanted a change, but it was all very reasonable. And really, it's what you want, but you always want more of it. That's what really makes the process very effective. So on that note, on the behalf of council, I wish everyone very, very happy holidays. No matter how you celebrate the holidays, we wish you and your family all the best, and also Merry Christmas. Thank you very much. There is no regional councillors report this evening. And I'll start with Councillor Thompson tonight with the council reports, just for a different spot.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Certainly, I was a little busy this past couple weeks. First of all, we had a meeting at Niagara Peninsula Energy where they were going over the budget, and all things seem in order in that area. And was at Miracle on King Street for most of the day there, helping set up and get things organized. So and I was glad to see the great turnout there. So I'll keep it brief this evening.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Timmers.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. I had the pleasure of attending the Lincoln Seniors Club on behalf of you, Mayor Easton, for their annual Christmas dinner. It was a packed house, about 130 seniors, and the meal was absolutely delicious, and they had live music and door prizes, so it was a really, really nice night. I really enjoyed that. I also attended the Jordan Village Christmas tree lighting with the flash mob of Christmas hats. Their barrel tree was lit up, and it was kind of a fun event, and yeah, I enjoyed that. And what else was I? I also saw Santa in Camden on the flatbed with the fire truck. That was a very exciting moment, I'll tell you. There was a big crowd, a lot of children, a lot of fun. You know, complete with the clown and a few other the Lions Clubs members were dressed up, and a lot of fun for the children. I think that's about it for me. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Timmers. Councillor Foster.
You threw me off the organization of this tonight. Just a couple of things. First of all, I attended my first Digital Governance Committee meeting. That is dealing with, at the provincial level, the AMO board. We've invited a minister, former health minister, Deb Matthews, yeah. She's going to be coming to our next meeting to speak to us directly, as this is an initiative of the provincial government, so looking forward to that. Just a couple of local things, although this really wasn't on behalf of council, I suppose, but both Councillor Pachariva and I were over at Trinity Church yesterday. Rudy Schindel, a longtime member of the community, had his 90th birthday party yesterday, and for those of you that know Rudy, he's no shrinking violet and has been here many, many a times to explain to us how we should be doing things like Academy, etc., right, John? So Saturday, a little sadder note, I attended the memorial service for Carolyn Hansen over in Grimsby. A long-time volunteer within the community, and unfortunately passed away way too early in life. And just the last thing is Brian Walker got a hold of me concerning my moving on to the Penn West board. So anyway, that's lined up for January. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Brunet.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. As most councillors, I was also quite busy over the last couple of weeks, so just very quickly, last week I had the opportunity to attend the last Penn West Services board meeting for 2016. At that meeting, we received Mayor Easton's request to step down from, was accepted from Penn West Services to move over to NPI, and as Councillor Foster just alluded to, we voted in favor of receiving the recommendation from the town of Lincoln to have Councillor Rob Foster come on to Penn West starting in January 2017. And the mayors all received the dividend checks, which I believe Mayor Easton received a dividend check for the town of Lincoln, which is proportionally in accord with the shareholders agreement for $179,065. Also, same day, I attended the last meeting of 2016 of the Regional Transportation Steering Committee. We received an update on the Niagara Go Hub and transit station study. One of the interesting things to come out of that was, at least from the region's perspective, Beamsville is now on the same level playing field as Grimsby, St. Catharines, and Niagara Falls when it comes to the GO station. So it'd be interesting to see how that all unfolds as we move forward. A lot of discussion on the actual mobility hubs and the areas surrounding the potential study areas. So with regards to, obviously, our Beamsville study, as per the 2041 traffic growth assignments, the study area for where the prospective GO station might go is anticipated to grow by 1,900 people and 1,400 jobs by 2041. So it was some really good discussion. It'd be interesting to see how this moves forward now. I believe by the end of 2017, they want to have the stations, discussed in depth in terms of, how they will move forward. Last Thursday, we held our inaugural meeting of the Active Transportation Advisory Board. Councillor Pachariva is my right-hand man as chair, and I want to thank from the town Matt Bruder, Walter Neubauer, Carrie Beatty, and CAO Mike Kirkopoulos, who were there front and center helping us get this inaugural meeting. We're looking forward to it. This committee will meet on a regular basis every month, fourth Thursday of every month. And also, I also had the opportunity to make an appearance at the Miracle on King Street, and hats off to Councillor McPherson, all the work he's doing down there. It was a great event, and to CCNN and Scott Holmes and all his crew, it was a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brunet. We'll start over here with Councillor McMillan.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. As noted by what the councillors have had to say so far this evening, there's a lot of activities all across town. Miracle on King Street in Beamsville and in Jordan and in Camden. And also I attended a tree lighting ceremony in Vineland. So Vineland, not to be forgotten, another part of the town. And it was co-sponsored by Jason and Stephanie Graham, and they are the new owners of the Vineland Foodland. And the other sponsor was Cheryl Scott from Village of Hope. There was, the ceremony brought out a lot of people from the community, and we had a winter barbecue and hot cider and hot chocolate. And the donations then were taken for Village of Hope. That was going to be distributed by Cheryl and her group, so Christmas will be a little merrier for those in need. And Dean Allison was there. And of course, Santa Claus came, and I had a conversation with Santa Claus and asked him about the council, and he wouldn't tell me which list you were on, whether it was the naughty or the nice. But he did say, according to the records, I was on the nice side. Yeah.
Well, that's very strange
you.
because he didn't tell me that.
He wouldn't commit to the rest of you.
Very good, Councillor. Councillor Njima.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I spent a lot of the last couple of weeks, a lot of stuff going on, and unfortunately I missed a bit of it because I was sick, fighting a nasty virus. So feeling a lot better now. The chamber had its mingle and jingle, and again, it was well attended, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The BIA held their monthly meeting last Thursday at noon, and our CAO, Mike Kirkopoulos, attended. And it was great to see the group that came out. I was not able to get there as I was stuck making my way back from the U.S., and Marianne, our executive director, was not there as well as she was sick. But even without the two of us, they had a very productive meeting, talked about garbage removal in the downtown, also talked, of course, about things that are near and dear to the BIA, Mr. Convenience, and the designs that are on the table, and also parking, of course. And thanks goes out to the mayor and to Mike for the banner that is now across the fence in front of Mr. Convenience. It looks fantastic, and the BIA is very, very excited about that change in look in front of Mr. Convenience. And also that the downtown looked absolutely festive. I mean, it was, it had, all of the Christmas lights, of course, and the railings were all decorated with the snow on top, and it looked really good for Saturday. Speaking of Miracle on King, kudos goes out to Scott Holmes for his organization. It ran from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Opening greetings were brought by Marianne Lapitan, our BA Executive Director, Mayor Easton, Sam Oosterhoff, as well as Dean Allison. We had, again, horse carriage rides, fire service was there with their big ladder truck, live entertainment, various vendors. So again, a great event for in December in the downtown core. And I also got there a little late, but attended the flash mob in Jordan, and I thought it was just a great little effort by the local merchants to gather people into the downtown Jordan area just for their Friday night shopping. So those were the 3 events I have for an update. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Pachariva.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I've got 5 events to touch on, but most of them have already been spoken about. As Councillor Bernay said, we had our inaugural active transportation meeting, and Councillor Brunet did a fantastic job as chairing that evening, and I look forward to this committee just taking off. We've got a great group of citizens around, so you know, with Councillor Bernay's guidance, we will be coming to you with updates and movement throughout the year. I attended the Greater Niagara Circle Route meeting on December the 6th. I raced back from Kitchener to find that we didn't have quorum because a lot of our people were at the Niagara Region's Tourism State of the Union address. So needless to say, we were 1 person short, so a lot of people that had done their homework and ready to contribute, so we'll be taking that up in the new year. I attended the Region's 2041 presentation at the Fleming Center a couple of weeks ago. It's a 25-year look forward on what the region needs to do in terms of population growth, infrastructure growth, and business growth. And Town of Lincoln is well poised to take advantage of that growth. Miracle on King Street on the weekend, you know, everyone made comments about it. It was a fantastic day. And last but not least, Rudy Schindell's 90th birthday party. Rudy and I had a little moment together. You know, of course, we talked about Academy Street. We talked about the boxing ring at the end of Stadtbauer Drive, where I still think Rudy could take on all comers in that. But I told him, I said, you know, excitedly that, you know, we're doing the relocation work next year of the utilities, and that if everything is on board, the reconstruction will happen the next year. Rudy said, I hope to see it in my lifetime. I said, Rudy, you're going to live to be 100. We're going to have this another 10 years, so you'll be the guy cutting the ribbon on Academy Street. And I will keep pressing Mr. Graham to move heaven and earth to expedite that.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased that a couple of you were able to go. I signed the scroll for Rudy, and it was kind of a nice feeling. He's one of the guys, you know, that he was always there when we were growing up in the church, and he's just been one of the men in this town that, you know, people my age know very, very well, and you could always rely on them. So I'm pleased that he was feted in that way. Well, thank you very much, councillors, and thank you again for your good works on behalf of our community. We move on now to delegations, and Nancy Chiliani, if you would come to the table. Nancy is the chair of the Canada 150 Committee, and she's here this evening to give us an update on the committee. Just have to push the button there and pull it close to you, Nancy, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Since the last delegation in October, the Canada 150 Committee has been busy. To begin with, we have successfully engaged the community in helping us plant over 150,000 tulips throughout the town of Lincoln. The schools and students throughout Lincoln have returned their silver and green trowels, so we can engrave them and then take them back to the students once the tulips are in bloom. Each school will have them as a keepsake of their contribution to the Canada 150 Tulip Garden legacy. The celebration garden at Town Hall is also planted with great thanks to the efforts of the Scouts. They all arrived in a huge group, and they had every bulb planted in record time. using every method they could think of. Pioneer Flower Farms also pitched in on a grand scale and planted 11 different sites throughout Lincoln, gathering up sponsor support along the way. Another 19,000 tulips have been placed in the ground to bring the total up to 169,000 red, white, and Canada 150 tulips, all ready to welcome the spring of the sesquicentennial year. So now that the holidays are here and we can feel all around us that this is no weather for planting, the Canada 150 Committee have been preparing for the start of the new year. 2017's Mayor's Levy on January 7th from 2 to 4 p.m. will be an invitation to everyone. The Fleming Center facility will be the hub of the levy's activity, so come out and enjoy. Take part in the open skate and enjoy some warming hot cocoa. Bring the family to meet and mingle with the mayor and the council and enjoy refreshments from Bench Brewery, Creekside Estate, Fielding Estate Wineries, and you can do that while the children take part in all kinds of coloring and crafting activities to keep them amused. This year, the levy will debut samples of a new, uniquely Lincoln treat. Ice wine fudge created by Joan Romagnoli, exclusively for the Canada 150 year and its celebrations. Some of you may know Joan as the creator of the famous Heritage Gift Shop fudge. She created the Canada 150 fudge flavor by sourcing Vidal ice wines only from vineyards located in the Lincoln area appellations, from the Beamsville Bench, Vinemount Ridge, 20 Valley Bench, and the Lincoln Lakeshore. The Canada 150 Committee and the Heritage Gift Shop would like to present the wineries of the Lincoln area by using the fudge to showcase ice wine as something that is Lincoln's own. We hope to be able to sell it during the upcoming Winter Wine Festival in Jordan, January 13, 14, and 15, and at other events throughout the 150 year. A limited supply will only be produced in 2017, and its sales will help fund the new Jordan Museum project while promoting the flavors of the Lincoln terroir, unique among Niagara's vineyards. We'd like the Canada 150 events to put Lincoln's excellent wineries in the limelight and spotlight and highlight their many efforts to contribute to Lincoln. To that end, we request council's and everyone's help to find sponsors who would donate to or fund the ice wine supply for this product. Moving on, in February, the town of Lincoln will host a Canada 150 Community Night with the Niagara Ice Dogs. 200 tickets have been reserved and will be sold on a first-come, first-served basis to the residents of Lincoln. Tickets are $13 each, and game night is February 11th, 2017 at 7 p.m. And this will be held at the Meridian Center in St. Catharines. The Niagara Ice Dogs will play the North Bay Battalion that night, featuring Lincoln's own local OHL player, Adam McMaster. This is a great night out for any local hockey fan of any age to celebrate Lincoln's best. Towards the end of the first quarter of the year, when the Jordan Museum moves into their transitional home on Beam Street, the museum will open its doors with an iconic Made in Lincoln art exhibit called Between the Lake and the Escarpment. The exhibit will come together as a result of the grant through the Niagara Community Foundation Canada 150 Fund, matching pledges from Lincoln Construction, Cave Springs, Niagara Peninsula Energy, and Minuteman Press. Peter Dillman will be the contract to curate for this exhibit, which combines the efforts of Beamsville District Secondary School, local elementary schools, and a wide range of professional and amateur artists in our community. The focus will be on the residents of Lincoln, and works will feature individual perspectives on Lincoln as they pertain to Canada's 150th anniversary. The exhibit begins at the museum's opening and continues until the end of 2017. This past December 1st, we submitted the theme for Lincoln's participation in the Canada 150 Mosaic Project, and the theme this year, the theme is Lincoln Center of Excellent, sorry, can I just start that again? Lincoln, Center of Excellence for Agriculture, with a focus on grapes, fruit, and flowers, of course, our areas of expertise. Community feedback from our open house events in October made this focus choice obvious for us. Actual tile painting dates for the Canada 150 Mosaic Project, they're June 9th and June 10th, 2017, and everyone is invited to participate and build up on the theme of our town. These are some of the upcoming events to look forward to in the new year. Of course, I'd like to remind everyone of the Canada 150 birthday celebrations planned for July 1st at Charles Daly Park, and the huge Harvest Homecoming Festival that will take place at the end of September in 2017. The steering committee for the Harvest Homecoming Festival have been fleshing out the events scheduled for each of the 3 days, and this festival is meant to call Lincoln's own home. It involves celebrations of Lincoln's heritage and culture, the businesses, industries, and people who've created its economic strength, and the leaders who've come from Lincoln to become great influences in the disciplines and the world around us. Many events are still in the development stage, so we will keep you up to date as our plans firm up. In the upcoming year, the Canada 150 Committee will be creating and implementing an all-encompassing communications plan as a method through which we can engage all residents, businesses, churches, community organizations, in short, everyone in town. We've already made some strides in this effort thanks to Beth Labrie and Sylvia Bebbin, who enlisted the help of all the Lincoln schools to promote the Canada 150 Tulips events by using their own resources, such as email blasts and automatic calling and newsletters, to keep parents and students of these schools informed. Together, we plan to build on these connections to make the sesquicentennial year's events most successful. So it's going to be a very busy, very exciting year. And on behalf of the Canada 150 Committee, I thank you all for your enthusiastic support and participation during our preparations and events. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you at the Mayor's Levee in the new year.
Thank you very much, Nancy. That was a very comprehensive report. Sometimes you forget about all the good things that are going on around you. It's really going to be quite exciting to look forward to. I'm going to ask the council now, councillors, if they have any questions. Any questions or any comments? Councillor Timmers.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. I don't have any questions, just a comment. I am part of this committee, but I'm so excited to have you here tonight, Nancy, to kind of highlight all the things that we've been working on and where we're going and all the exciting things that are coming next year. It's going to be just fabulous. I am so excited to be part of this committee. They are very hardworking. You can tell by the amount of work, and the thoughts of what we're planning are just fantastic. It's going to be a really, really great year. And just backing up about the ice wine fudge.
Yes.
I got to sample the ice wine fudge, and it was fantastic. It was delicious. So as Nancy was speaking about the ice wine, we really were looking for some help there with maybe some people that would maybe donate the ice wine or step up and sponsor it in some way. So that's something we're going to have to work on a little more. But thanks very much, Nancy.
Thank you.
Councillor Njima.
Yeah, thank you for all the work that you're doing again, and I know that there's a number of us that came out and helped with the tulips, handing the tulip bulbs out to the schools. So please feel free to let us know again if there's any way that we can help.
Oh, we will.
Yeah. Just saying.
Oh, me too.
Great.
I just want to remind everyone that I'm very, very pleased that the levee is becoming more of a family event. I think it's extremely important, and that idea came from Laurie Laird. And I'm pleased, Nancy, that the committee has taken it on and is really, building it out. So that it's going to be a great day for little kids and their parents and all ages to be there, which is really what it's all about.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Nancy. Happy Christmas.
You too. Thank you.
The second delegation is one that our Fire Chief Greg Hudson is going to present, and it's a video called No Time to Spare, How long is this video, Chief?
About 10 minutes or so.
10 minutes.
Yes.
All right. We'll have to get ourselves focused. Thank you very much. Just proceed as you can.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight and give you a brief talk about fire safety. This particular video was presented by the Office of the Fire Marshal and Emergency Management at a seminar they had in St. Catharines recently, and you all weren't able to attend, so Councillor Ranjima suggested that we show it here tonight, and I think it's a good idea, especially before the holidays and especially in light of the tragic circumstances that happened in Port Colborne and also in Oneida Nation of the Thames First Nation. Port Colborne just had a fire that resulted in 4 fatalities, and the Oneida Nation lost 5 residents just recently. So it's been a horrible month for fire safety this year. And I actually had occasion to attend Port Colborne to lend support to the fire chief down there and talk about a community that's really reeling from a tragedy. It's really hit home. So hopefully if we see this video, we get the message out and it doesn't happen elsewhere. So.
Ontario has an exceptional fire service, but fire and smoke can travel so quickly that despite their best efforts, firefighters might not be able to rescue you or your family if a fire occurs in your home. In fact, most fire fatalities occur when the fire department's response time is 5 minutes or less. What you are about to see is the actual recreation of a fire that happened in a home early one morning. Even though the firefighters arrived within 3 minutes of receiving the call, the fire claimed the life of a 5-year-old boy. This needless tragedy devastated not only the family, but also friends, firefighters, and the entire community. What we've learned from this recreation, we'd like to share with you. It could save your life, or the lives of your loved ones. This reenactment clearly demonstrates how little time you may have to escape a fire in your home. It drives home a very important message. You must take responsibility for your own fire safety. As you are about to see, you may have less than 1 minute to safely escape a fire in your home.
As lead investigator of this fatal fire, I determined the movements of the family. I also considered the amount of time for them to exit the dwelling. The building consisted of 2 semi-detached homes divided by a cinder block wall. Other than some very minor smoke damage, the adjoining home was intact. Permission to burn the adjoining home provided us with the unique opportunity to recreate this fire in almost identical conditions. We prepared the adjoining home to ensure the furnishings, temperature, and conditions reflected those in the destroyed home at the time of the fire. We then set up a fire simulation to test our theory that the fire had started in the wicker chair. But more importantly, it provided an opportunity to test the effectiveness of smoke alarms and the importance of home fire escape planning. In the destroyed home, there was only 1 smoke alarm located in the hall outside the sleeping area on the 2nd floor. For this reenactment, we installed smoke alarms on both the ground floor and the 2nd floor. We believe that the mother and the 3-year-old boy came down the stairs and exited the building, followed by the father and the 5-year-old. It's quite likely that the older boy became afraid of the fire and ran back upstairs. It's not uncommon for a child to react that way, which reinforces the need to hold on to your children and to assist them out of the home. We estimate it took 30 seconds to escape the dwelling after the activation of the 2nd floor smoke alarm. That's a critical moment because when the family opened the door and exited the dwelling, the door stayed open and provided oxygen to the growing fire. What you are seeing now is the alcove area in the living room of the simulation home. The kitchen is on the right side of the frame and the front door is on the left. A fire is being ignited on the wicker chair, which was determined to be the point of origin of the fire. The equipment hanging from the ceiling are the heat sensors installed to monitor the temperature of the room at various levels. The smoke is now pouring from the ignition point and a small flame is developing. The wicker chair is now burning. ground floor smoke alarm activates. Remember, there was no ground floor smoke alarm in the actual fire. The fire is still in its early stages, but you can see that the toxic smoke layers are already beginning to accumulate at the ceiling level. If the occupants were alerted to the fire at this point, they would have had more time to safely escape. In a fire, every second counts. There is no time to spare. The smoke alarm on the second floor now activates. This is the alarm the family heard. At this stage, they are getting out of bed, gathering their children, and preparing to escape. These are the fire conditions that the family would have faced as they came down the stairs. At this point, the temperature in the room at the shoulder level is approximately 40 degrees Celsius. Watch closely what happens to the fire conditions when the front door opens and more oxygen is introduced into the room. At this stage, we believe the mother and 3-year-old are now exiting the front door. In the confusion of the growing fire, the father and older boy became separated, and the father barely escaped with his life. Unfortunately, the child had run back up the stairs and perished in the fire. Within 30 seconds of the door opening, the temperature on the first and second floors soared to over 700 degrees Celsius. The fire is spreading rapidly throughout the room as flaming paint is dropping onto the furnishings. The room is rapidly approaching its peak temperature of 900 degrees Celsius. All of the materials in the room are now burning, and in less than 3 minutes, we have reached flashover conditions. No one can possibly survive these conditions. You can hear the front window shattering. These are the conditions that the firefighters faced as they entered the burning building in attempts to rescue the young victim. Investigators from the Office of the Fire Marshal face these types of cases on a daily basis. The investigation of any fire fatality is never routine. However, the circumstances involving the death of a child are always tragic.
This reenactment clearly shows that you cannot risk having a fire in your home. However, tragic situations like this continue to happen across Ontario all too often. You need to do everything you can do to prevent a fire in your home. There are 3 essential issues that you need to address to protect you and your loved ones from fire. They are prevention, detection, and escape. Prevention. There are simple things that you can do to ensure that fire never starts in your home. Most kitchen fires result from unattended cooking, so stay in the kitchen and look while you cook. If you smoke, smoke outside and keep matches and lighters out of sight and reach of children. Alcohol is an all too common factor in many fatal fires involving cooking and smoking. Keep a close eye on anyone in your home who is drinking, especially if they are cooking or smoking. Keep candles away from anything that can burn and place them in safe, sturdy holders with glass shades. Blow out all candles before leaving the room or going to bed. These are only some of the things that you can do to prevent fires in your home. Detection. If, after your best efforts, a fire does start in your home, you need to know about it right away. Since this fire occurred, the law now requires working smoke alarms on every story of your home and outside all sleeping areas. The fire service recommends that you also install a smoke alarm in every bedroom. The early detection and warning of a fire provided by working smoke alarms can give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Remember, it's the law. Escape. Everyone in your home needs to know what to do when they discover a fire or hear the smoke alarm. Most fatal fires occur at night when everyone is asleep, so it's important that you develop a home fire escape plan and practice it with the entire household so everyone knows all possible escape routes to get out safely. Make sure someone assists small children, older adults, or anyone requiring assistance. As this video has demonstrated, a fast, pre-planned escape is critical to survival. There are no second chances in a fire. Another way that you can greatly improve your odds of surviving a fire in your home is to install residential sprinklers. Sprinklers provide excellent fire protection because they can extinguish fires or control and contain them until help arrives. They limit smoke development and spread, giving occupants more time to evacuate and significantly reducing the likelihood of injury and death due to smoke inhalation. Sprinklers can cost as little as 1 to 1.5% of the cost to build a new home. If you are building a new home, the Fire Service strongly recommends that you install sprinklers. The Fire Service of Ontario is working hard to keep all of our communities safe from fire, but we can't do it alone. We need your help. Adults and children are dying in fires that can easily be prevented. It's your responsibility to keep your family and your home safe from fire. For more information, visit the Office of the Fire Marshal website or contact your local fire department.
Thank you very much, Chief. Do you have any additional comments that you'd like to make?
Just a couple of brief comments, Mary Easton. Basically, the key message here is, please, I just look to Luke as well, just please get the message out to check the smoke alarms. You know, the only smoke alarm that's going to save your family is one that works. So as the result of this tragic incident, this prompted changes to the fire code that required smoke alarms at every level. So every level, basement, first and second floor, all need working smoke alarms. And you'll notice in there that if you're following the timeline, from the time the upstairs smoke alarm activated to the time the conditions really became untenable in the building was about a minute. So really, it's scary how fast the fire can travel. And the other thing is they mentioned residential sprinklers. They're not required by the building code yet. However, if there are any developers in town wishing to develop, I would really encourage them to consider residential sprinklers, and I'd be happy to work with anybody if you want more information. They've really come down in price in terms of installation costs. The maintenance requirements is really minimal, and it's, you know, really worth it as far as I'm concerned. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief. Are there any questions or comments? Just let me start a list here. Councillor Njima and then Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know how other people feel about that, but I was really shocked how fast that moved. And so that's why I thought everybody should see it, because if you don't know, you know now how fast a fire can spread. Very, very fast. And the difference, like you said, between having the smoke alarms on the several smoke alarms and just having one was, what, 45 seconds to a minute. Really, I mean, it's important. But I think when I sent out an email earlier on this month about this, Mayor Easton suggested that education is one of the best points of prevention, and that it be that we show this video wherever we can. For example, in the libraries. Is that a possibility?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, it is. We're going to work with the library to make sure this video is out there. It is a little bit old. It's been out there for a little bit over 10 years, but the message is still very relevant and timely.
I think fire still moves fast. Yeah, thank you.
Person?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, very timely message. You know, I think about certainly Christmas time, and the candle really struck a chord with me that there's so many more candles in a house. I mean, we had a gathering at our place, and you know, even going to bed, you know, I noticed that there was a candle in the small bathroom that was still lit. You know, so it's hugely important to think about those candles, especially with things like trees now in the house. You know, Christmas trees in the house, garland throughout the house. I mean, it just is so much more flammable. The other thing that really hit us this past week was the CO2 indicators or monitors, and a friend of ours happened to have one go off in the middle of the night, and of course they're thinking, hey, you know, this is not us, and I mean, this must be a faulty battery. Well, in fact, they needed it, and saved their life, you know, basically. So timely message.
Anyone else? Well, it's certainly very sobering, but even at a time of year when you think you want to be happy all the time, this is a very good message. Thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate it. Move on to correspondence. Anything? No correspondence. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move into reports now, and we have the minutes of Sport, Recreation, and Culture Committee, moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Foster, that the minutes of the Sport, Recreation, and Culture Committee meeting of December the 7th, 2016 be adopted, and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. Are there any questions to the motion? I'm sorry, I'm out of line. Councillor Thompson. You must speak first. My apologies.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Much appreciated. Certainly, this was the last Sports, Recreation, and Culture meeting for 2016. We started the meeting with a Heritage Committee report regarding the proposal for the historic interpretive plaques, and moved forward to beginning the process and finalizing locations and content and getting this great item underway for sure. We then had the Heritage Committee minutes from their meetings, a couple of library minutes as well, and I need not speak to the quantity of work that's being done by the Canada 150 Committee, as Nancy has thoroughly gone through all that this evening, and it's just incredible the amount of work, and really want to thank the members of the committee for their investment of time and effort in this going forward. We also had a Jordan Historical Museum Gateway Project information update, and just so that you kind of know where we're at, we've been working on the archaeological portions of the project. And due to, obviously, the weather, we are now in a hiatus in that till the spring. And questions were asked regarding some of the artifacts, for example, the mail coach, which has been removed from the property but stored safely till it's put back in where it's going to be. We also had a Scout Hut update. The old Scout Hut is gone. Servicing is, from what I understand, pretty much complete, and we expect to have delivery of the new Scout Hut just in time for Christmas over the next couple of days. So it'll be great to see that, and I'm sure the Scouts will be extremely excited by that. We also had a report brought forward and discussions in regards to a multi-purpose sports facility or sports dome. That is, by motion, been taken back to staff to look into it a little further and do some negotiations and whatnot, and bring a report back to us. We also discussed strategic partnership between the library and the town. Questions were asked regarding updates on the heritage designation and de-designation processes, and those will be brought back in early 2017. Season's Greetings has been painted on both ice surfaces, as per Councillor Petriva's request. And certainly information about creating a heritage district will also be brought back in the new year, in and around the Fall Heritage Festival that's going to be going on. So that was pretty much the goings-on of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Questions, Councillor Njima? You had your hand up before?
No, I didn't.
No? Okay, that's fine. Are there any questions or comments to the motion? Your pleasure on the motion? The motion's carried. Next up, we have public minutes, public meeting minutes of December 12th. I have a motion moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Thompson, that the minutes of the public meeting of December 12th, 2016 be received. Your pleasure on the motion? The motion is carried. I have a motion moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Thompson, that the minutes of the Economic Development and Planning Committee meeting of December 12, 2016, including the confidential addendum thereto, be adopted, and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. This was pretty much an all-planning, all-the-time meeting for the last one of the year. We had, first of all, some correspondence concerning the joint Board of Management for Niagara Region Courts, the rotation schedule, and our Chris Collings, who is now involved with bylaw enforcement within the town, has been appointed to be within that group. Just noted that with the motion that's being passed this evening. We had of course, the public meeting concerning the zoning bylaw amendment application by Roger Whitfield. We accepted the report as information. That particular issue appears very much to be a housekeeping item within the municipality. We approved a zoning bylaw amendment application by Tony Lavakia. And this was essentially a change from a residential into the central business district. And again, not a lot of discussion about that. That was passed. One of the things that you should notice for members that weren't there that evening, we now passed two motions with each of our zoning bylaws. One is the one stating that we are approving the zoning bylaw. The second is giving the reasons why we are accepting that. And that is part of provincial legislation, as well as our own experience recently with the OMB back about 2 years ago with another application that we had going through. So. The zoning bylaw amendment application for George and Bonnie Brown was also approved, but there was holding provisions put on it and a variety of conditions set for that, as is normal in a situation like that. The Niagara Region Municipal Comprehensive Review, Phase 3 of that, we had some discussion of it. It's always interesting at planning. It always leads to other discussions, so we started talking about some of the infrastructure upgrades that might be required for Prudhoms, and we're talking about some of the forecasts for population. The mayor was quite interested in that within it, but the report itself is a broad brush look at what's happening in the future with Niagara Region. So anyway, we accepted that as information. The interesting report for the evening, I guess, would have been the Beamsville Central Business District parking strategy. And part of the evening, the discussion was on quantities of parking that's available in downtown Beamsville. There was a discussion about the parking facilities that are owned by the town at this point, some improvements that can be made. Taking a look at underutilized parking within the downtown area. There was some direction given to staff to have discussions with a variety of owners in those areas. And sort of the good and the bad of the downtown parking within Beamsville. Again, it was a fascinating discussion. So we did go into a closed session to discuss a potential land purchase issue, and that was it for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair Foster. And are there any comments or any questions to the minutes? Councillor Brunet.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. Just I had the opportunity to sit into that meeting on behalf of Councillor Rinjima, and I was glad I did. We have a lot of people, just to Chair Foster's comments with regards to the Beamsville Central Business District parking strategy. You know, we have a lot of people in this community very concerned about parking. We've got businesses that are watching us very carefully as to what we're going to do, especially with the sign going up as Councillor McPherson referred to at the top of Ontario Street. So there was some great discussion that evening. I think there are some great opportunities, and as Chair Foster made comment, we look forward to the reports coming back from staff, because there was some good discussion that evening on potential opportunities with regards to parking. So really was very confident coming away from that meeting. It was some great discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Anyone else? Your pleasure on the motion? Motion is carried. Next, we'll deal with Council Business Planning Committee of the Whole minutes of December the 13th, which includes the 2017 budget approval. Moved by Councillor Foster and seconded by Councillor Thompson that the minutes of the Council Business Planning Committee of the Whole meeting of December 13th, 2016, including the confidential addendum thereto, be adopted, and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. Councillor Foster.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Easton, and just let me pull up the minutes here for a moment. 15, 16, 17. Okay. First of all, I do apologize to Mayor Easton, because she accuses me of giving her the cold that she's suffering with this evening, and I probably did, and I do apologize. So So we had, with this particular meeting, just a quick overview of the meeting itself, and then I'm going to go into some more details on the budget process itself. But we started with a closed session to deal with a litigation matter going on within the municipality, just to get a quick update on that. That was important for us to get through that. We heard about, we did a public meeting on the water and wastewater rates and budget. And we had one couple here that basically said once they heard the information, they didn't have anything to say. They really quite liked what they heard with water and wastewater rates. So we went into a discussion on the compliance regulations. We passed the motion on water and wastewater rates. We went through and did a quick budget update from the CAO. Took us through the remaining items that we had left outstanding. He came back with a variety of options for us to look at, but we as a group followed along with the CAO and the recommendations that he gave during the evening. And then we actually approved the budget itself, and we did a called vote as well with that. And by the way, I will be asking for a called vote on the minutes from this evening as well, just so that the other councillors have an opportunity to make sure their voices are heard. So I'm just going to go into the budget itself, just to give some perspective on what it is and what has happened at this point in time. In the background, staff began working on the budget this past July. They came to us with quite a comprehensive proposal when it was brought forward this year, both from a capital and an operations point of view. It was based on, first of all, the priorities of council, and that is the established priorities of this council. It came with the requirements of staff as well, which was good. And it also came with what was heard during our public consultation process ahead of the budget process this year, the actual physical part that we went into. It followed the principles and thought processes that we have adopted within this municipality. That is, we keep the capital expenditure continuing based on the construction price index. We keep debt and payments to a manageable level within the municipality, and in fact, a very conservative level. Our budget process says that we have to keep it less than 10%. The reality, it was 2.5% in 2016 for us. And by the way, that is still significantly less than what the provincial regulations are for these values. The province seems to think we can borrow an awful lot of money, and pay it back, but our principals at this particular council have said, no, we're not doing that. And the other thing is that we have the roads, and we've increased spendings to help make in the roads area as well. So over the next 10 years, we're looking at a funding shortfall of $17 million in currently identified needs. That does not account for any unexpected funding requests that we may have coming in the future from a capital point of view. I think that's really important. That means that we know and understand what it is that we have to spend money on in order to keep our municipality vibrant and moving forward. But we do have a $17 million deficit, and those are the types of funds that we look to staff, and we look to the province, and we look to the federal government to help provide funds to help us make up some of those. The reality, too, has been that the province has been decreasing funds being granted to municipalities over the last number of years. And it's also interesting, too, that they have been uploading costs from Niagara Region. What this has done is it's provided us, because of these provincial changes, it's provided us some room to adjust our rates and to make up for some of the shortfalls that we might be receiving from the provincial government. So the reality is that what the province has done has been helpful to the region, and what the region has done has been helpful to our municipality. So, and that's a good thing. So the budget for 2017, I think I was quoted as saying it was aggressive at one time, but I think we all agreed in the end that this budget is progressive. And for sure, a number of areas that needed to be addressed were taken into account with the budget. The total 2017 capital budget is $11,750,250. To give you an idea where monies are to be spent with the capital, there's $829,000 is going to be spent on fire services. That includes a new tanker. That includes breathing apparatus, extrication stabilizers. There's an all-terrain vehicle that is being purchased to help with those areas of the town where it's just simply impossible to get at with normal equipment. Almost $5 million is being spent on roadways this upcoming year. Resurfacing, approximately $1.7 million again, an area that has been aggressively pushed by us at council. The 1.7 includes the rural and the urban paving that's going to be going on. I found it fascinating when I was looking at the region of Niagara's budget. They are spending $12.5 million when it comes to road resurfacing across Niagara region. So our numbers, when you start doing the percentages based on population, et cetera, we actually are being very aggressive on what we're doing with roads, and we're continuing with that. Facilities, $605,000. Stormwater management, just over $1.5 million. And there is a variety of park design work that is being put in place with this particular budget. This is for future years when we're actually going and redeveloping parks within the urban boundary. We also discussed and are approving with this, if it's approved this evening, a dedicated 1% increase for future capital expenditures. So this money is being used and is going to be put into a reserve fund, and the bottom line is it is going to be used in the future for the capital and infrastructure that's required within the municipality. It is our hope that councils of the future will continue with this, and it will provide a bit of a fund to go and handle some of the infrastructure needs that are critical within our municipality. Operating budget, we started with the first number at 8.92% on November the 23rd. A variety of items were reviewed in more detailed, and this was narrowed down in our process to 6.95%. This meant deferring some of the full-time employment requests that had been made by staff. It meant trimming expenses in a variety of areas that where it made sense. But it did mean that we're making more investments to help improve technology, and we're also helping for emergency preparedness. and we're adding key staff positions required by the municipality. So the overall budget, blending with Niagara Region and the education tax portion, the increase to taxpayer is 3.22%. The resulting impact per average household based on a value of $330,000 over a year is about $94.96 approximately, which is about 26 cents a day. Water and sewer. Well, we dealt with the water and sewer budget, and there's $2.6 million in water and sewer work. We are introducing a variable wastewater consumption billing. Essentially, the wastewater value is going to be going down within the summer months. This is to address, we heard loud and clear from the public that this is to address the fact that a lot of water is not going into the wastewater system during that time, but is being used for other purposes. We're making modifications to the base charges, and this is going to provide smooth future funding to water and wastewater charges. And I believe Councillor Pachariva, we were talking about this, the Drake survey, when this is going, this is one of the last pieces of cast iron piping within the municipality. They're going to be replaced this upcoming year. This is a major milestone for this municipality. We have been investing in the removal and replacement of cast iron pipes. I would say we are so far ahead of the curve on this compared to at least others within Niagara. But certainly we're definitely within the province as well. The nice thing about this is that this is coming in this year at a -2% water and wastewater reduction. I'm going to have a discussion with my wife when I go home when I say it's a 2% reduction, because she has been one of the biggest critics with me about water and wastewater over the years. But I'll tell you, we are now at a situation where we are now one of the cheaper municipalities because of the work that we have done over the years when it comes to water and wastewater. So this is very positive news for the municipality. We've achieved what it is that we have been trying to do. So just some comments from me about the budget. This is the 7th budget process that I have been chair of within the municipality. I got to say, in my opinion, this has been probably the most challenging budget that we've gone through. I think, and for a variety of reasons, but I will give credit to our CAO, Mr. Kirkopoulos, our treasurer, Angela Safani, and all the senior staff members for the fact that it went very smoothly as we went through this process. As information has been required or was required, it was provided in a quick and effective manner for us. And in fact, I'd say major check marks behind that this year. When we needed the information, we got it, and we got it quickly. While we're going into year 3 of this particular council, I think it can be said that this is the staff and council's first true future-focused budget of this council, and in fact probably the first future-focused budget from a number of years. We have always been fighting to play catch-up, but now we're actually going and we're saying this is where we're moving to in the future. And I'll make no mistake, this budget was a painstaking process that forced business cases from senior staff and significantly frank discussions by council members on how we see the municipality functioning in the future. And let's be clear, this has not been a completely homogeneous process. We have, we've had some really good discussions on this. Council has made it clear that simply deploying resources is no longer acceptable. Developing metrics and understanding value to the organization is critical. In fact, we heard that over and over again at all of our budget meetings. This budget provides the funding to resolve a number of departmental and structural issues with our municipality and provides a solid foundation for the future. It has, after much discussion and option review, what is believed to be appropriate FTE additions going into the 2017 year. introduction of the 1% levy for future infrastructure is very progressive. And in fact, I believe it was pointed out by Mr. Kirkopoulos, there have been other municipalities that have done this. Our municipality is one of the first in Niagara, and it was fascinating that Niagara Region followed along behind us with this as well. Congrats to Niagara Region for seeing that as well. As I said, with the combined regional increases, we are looking at a 3.22% increase overall. Our expectation coming out of this process is that the amount will be lower next year, but that will be for us next year to be looking at that as we go through our budget process as well. And the water and wastewater changes are decreasing by 2% for 2017, and then are going to be approximately a cost of living value for the next number of years after that. So all in all, a good process. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Foster, and for your open report, transparency with which you reported the numbers. I think that's very important for the public to understand that this process is really is opening up. Councillors, any comments or any questions at all? I guess everybody's tired of talking of the budget. Amazing. It's pretty good for a group of politicians, I would say. I'm going to ask Mr. Kirkopoulos to have a few words from the staff perspective.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I will try to keep it as brief as possible. I do want to thank Councillor Foster for his overview. I think when we look at this budget, there were four main, I think, principles that we were looking at, as Councillor Foster highlighted, and that is investing in hard and soft infrastructure, meeting our legislative obligations, doing our best to, I think, mitigate and absorb any of the inflationary pressures we were seeing, and of course something I think you heard me say throughout the process and that I heard loud and clear from Council, and that is a desire to invest in the basics and to look at our services. So I want to thank Council for their patience. This was a different process. This was my first budget with all of you, and I'm going to suggest my first budget and our first budget as a collective new staff and a lot of new positions. My appreciation and thanks goes out to Rosalie and Angela, Carrie from a communication standpoint, who did an amazing job, Amanda, coming in halfway through the process and I think trying to get up to speed and offering a lot of insight as we looked at scenarios moving forward. There's a lot of work to do as we get into 2017, and we'll have more engagement. We'll continue to update Council as we move forward. And so it's been a great process for me, and I look forward to next year.
Thank you very much. As Mayor, I really want to support the comments that have been made. This was a very, very good process, and the results are very satisfying. The budget is comprehensive. It was a very transparent process. There were no questions that we didn't receive answers to, very complete answers. It is very future-focused. I feel the reporting to the public is much superior to what it has been in the past. And as I said before, it really is satisfying to know that the public are getting involved. They certainly understand. It's just a matter of us having a process that welcomes them in. And I think in terms of teaching elements, not every piece of the budget is easy to understand, but the way the CAO goes about it and the way his staff go about it is sometimes you have to learn in different ways. You have to have the information presented in different ways and more than once. And the best example this year was the water wastewater report. It was very complex and there was a lot of data. However, we had a number of opportunities to discuss it, and the information was presented finally in a way that we could understand and support the staff recommendation. So thank you very much, everyone involved. And Councillor Foster has requested a recorded vote, Mr. Clerk.
On the matter of the question of the adoption of the Council Business Planning Committee of the whole minutes, I will call the attendance in alphabetical order, and the mayor will announce the results of the vote. Please indicate yea or nay in support or opposition to the minutes. Councillor Brunet.
Yes.
Councillor Foster.
Yes.
Councillor McMillan. Yes. Councillor McPherson.
Yes.
Councillor Pachariva.
Yes.
Councillor Njima.
Yes.
Councillor Thompson.
Yes.
Councillor Timmers.
Yes.
Mayor Easton.
Yes. All answered with conviction. Thank you all very much. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. We move on now to the Infrastructure Committee, minutes of December 14th, and I have a motion moved by Councillor Njima, seconded by Councillor McPherson, that the minutes of the Infrastructure Committee meeting of December 14th, 2016 be adopted, and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. Councillor Pachariva.
Thank you, Worship. Our last infrastructure meeting for the year, and my last as the chair, was held on December 14th. It was a rather bittersweet meeting, but I'm moving on to a different committee, and I got to keep my head down, because if I look at Mr. Graham over there, I will get misty, because we've been together for 6 years. And we're not breaking up, David, but we're going to continue on. Our first report of the evening dealt with establishing a speed limit of 40 kilometers on 14 of our regular roads. We had some PICs in the summer, September 13th in Jordan, well, actually in the fall, and September 20th in the Fleming Center. And this was going to reinforce our strong collaboration and partnership that we have with the NRP. A bunch of residents, 47 formally signed in, and 57 provide comment, and many of them are concerned with speeding on our residential roads, and we're very enthusiastic to hear about our speed reduction campaign. 32 locations were undertaken throughout the town for speed monitoring, and we shared this information with the Niagara Regional Police, and it calculated where and at what time the speeding was taking place, and then we followed that up with some targeted reinforcement. There's a strong need to have that increased police enforcement going forward, and then we'll also undertake some traffic calming measures. The cost of installing the new 40K an hour speed limit signs is approximately $12,000. We'll continue to monitor speeding problems with our digital feedback signs. And our next steps are going to be in the area of communications. Council was really, really adamant about communications going forward. We have the lovely and talented Carrie Beatty sitting in the front row here, who's taken up that challenge. But I want to point out too that the infrastructure and public works staff, not to be remiss by this, that anyone that came out to the speed reduction PICs that we held will be contacted personally by staff, regarding their comments and follow up and next steps. The initial speed reduction of the 14 streets had to do with areas of parks, recreation centers, or school grounds. There was a lot of input that over the course of those 2 evenings from residents that would also like to look at their streets, and there was also a couple streets brought up that evening at committee. So going forward, we'll look at that and take those under advisement, and then do the due diligence to have a look at that. Communication going forward, we'll be using newspaper advertisements, notices directly to the affected residents on those streets, town website, and social media. The installation of the new speed signs will approximately take place April of 2017, but earlier if weather permits. But for those that have braved the weather the past 2 days, ice, snow, rain, sleet, hail, I can't see spring coming early. We'll continue to monitor, evaluate, and report back, and all in all, very proud of this going forward. Our second report of the evening had to do with the PIC and the Drake Avenue and surrounding neighborhood reconstruction. There's a need to upgrade Drake Avenue and Marguerite and Cameron to an urban standard. Councillor Foster made mention of it in our budget, that this will be the last length of cast iron water infrastructure in town, and then we'll actively tackle the cement-lined infrastructure. But it's going to have curbs and gutters, storm sewers, and pedestrian connectivity via sidewalks. The detailed engineering design work is 70% complete. We had 13 people come out to the PIC. A lot of concerns related to their own private property, driveways, trees, etc., and safety concerns. And through that, we're going to be instituting, Councillor Foster, this is for you, a three-way stop at the corner of Cameron and Michael Avenue. And might I repeat that, a three-way stop at the corner of Cameron and Michael Avenue, complete with crosswalks. Your wish is my command. And our next report had to do with the findings of our railway grade crossing safety assessment. So in November of 2014, the Railway Safety Act made it mandatory for all public road authorities to comply with regulations and with respect to maintenance and construction of roadway conditions, new and existing railway crossings in Canada, bless you, your worship, and to improve the crossing safety. It'll be a two-phased approach. The first phase was a technical information sharing between the road authority, and in our case, the town of Lincoln, and we had to do this in writing, and this was with a specific list of technical information with respect to the crossings. And CN then shared their findings, and from that we have 2 years, and that's November 28, 2016, to bring these crossings into compliance. If any are found to be deficient or non-compliant, you've got 7 years to improve or reconstruct them. So the terminal date on that is November 28, 2021. There's 13 municipal railway crossings in the town of Lincoln. The minor deficiencies, which we can tackle next year, approximately about $15,000 of cost, are line painting and signage improvements, and these can be addressed early in 2017 by our own staff and are funded through our recently approved 2017 operating budget. Major deficiencies are much more problematic and costly, but these won't need to be undertaken until the geometric standards of the road are rebuilt. Pavement rehab can take place over the next 7 years, and these locations that have been identified have been added to the town's road resurfacing program. Knowing that GO Transit is coming to Niagara, the track running from Nellis Road to just outside of St. Catharines will have to be extended because years ago the track was taken out. So we want to make sure that our upgrades to these level crossings take into effect that laying of that track. We don't want to be doing the work and then having it done all over again. And our last piece of correspondence for the evening, or a report, had to do with the quarterly project and program status. As you can see, for those that were at committee, and I must say, and I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Councillor Timmers sat in for Councillor McPherson that night, who was away on business, and Councillor Timmers did a fantastic job. There was only 2 projects that have been identified in the whole list that aren't yet started. These are the Lister Road and the Bartlett Road culvert replacement projects. The reason that they have rolled over into 2017 is because they're very shallow. There's not a lot of depth between the road and the top of the culvert. Presently, it's conventional steel pipe. We need a stronger set of, or a stronger material down below, so we need to add more to the budget, and these will be bundled in with our 2017 projects, and we should get some much more attractive bids. And then just finally, in our favorite session, which is new business, we had ditching on Bethesda Road identified, subdivision extension in the Vineland area, new coat of asphalt, and new trees being planted in Councillor McMillan's neighborhood. Councillor Brunet asked about any concerns with the one-way traffic changeover on Academy Street. Also identified the work on King Street between King and William, that the water main work went fantastic. Rehab is done, the paving is done, the sod remediation, it's dynamite. And Your Worship, you made mention about the overlapping projects that we're undertaking between SRC and the Infrastructure Committee that happened throughout the season. Also, that the town is looking 1,000,000% cleaner. The Christmas lights were fantastic, and the public is noticing, and the goal and mantra of the Infrastructure Committee is to provide value for our residents. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I don't know what it's going to be like in the future. I think Councillor Brunet has his dancing shoes on, I'm sure. Maybe not. Councillor Foster, you had a comment?
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of things. And first of all, both Councillor Najima and I were both under the weather this past week, so we unfortunately didn't get to the meeting. But a lot of the items that were brought forward directly affected Ward 1, and so we appreciate these items that have come forward. And you know, I'll have to be blunt. The speed reduction within this is something I've been working on for 15 years now to have happen, and now we finally have it happen. It harkens me to the movie The Shawshank Redemption, if anybody's watched that, and how he sent off a letter once a week, and they finally did something about it. Well, I'll be sending off 2 letters a week now to continue with this, because we need to be looking at this throughout the municipality. I think 40-kilometer streets, at least within our subdivisions, is appropriate for all of them, and taking a look at you know, the speed bump program that I know you've been talking about at the Infrastructure Committee, the portable ones that have had great success within other municipalities within Southern Ontario. I think this is all very positive. This is long overdue types of things that we have to do, and I'm really pleased. And by the way, just to let you know, Mr. Kalasa pointed out to me that we have a water main break on Drake going on at the moment. So, you know, again, this is long overdue, that subdivision being done, and hopefully we're not going to have too many breaks this winter with the last of that cast iron pipe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Anyone else? Councillor Brunet.
Thank you, Mary Easton. Through you to the clerk, I just wanted to make a notation that I don't see it in the minutes here, but committee on the night of December 14th certainly thanks Chair Foster Chair Pachariva for his leadership, his passion, and his commitment to this infrastructure committee over the years. So I just wanted to note that it was acknowledged that evening, and I wanted to pass those sentiments along on behalf of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Hear, hear. All right, Councillor Njima.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Somewhere in the minutes, we were talking about the Drake reconstruction project, and I recall when I was at the Public Information Center session that there was some upgrades proposed to the intersection of Drake and Garden Gate. I'm wondering if Mr. Graham can just run that by me again. What's proposed for that intersection?
Mr. Graham, was it part of, I don't recall us including that as part of the report or the minutes?
Through you, Madam Mayor, if I can just add a comment to that. We are going to be targeting that intersection with our portable speed bump program next year to look at what might be appropriate, so.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, your pleasure on the motion, councillors. The motion is carried. Thank you. We have confirmation of compliance. I'm sorry, what am I doing here? Just a moment. Your pleasure on the motion, if you will. The motion is carried. Just for the formality of it. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I have a motion moved by Councillor McPherson and seconded by Councillor Njima that Council has considered the requirements of paragraph 17 of Section 34 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, and concludes that no further notice of public meeting is required in the matter of the following proposed amendments to zoning bylaw number 93-14-Z1. A, number 2016-81-Z483, to amend zoning bylaw 93-14-Z1 as amended, La Vecchia. And B, number 2016-82-Z484, to amend zoning bylaw 93-14-Z1 as amended, Brown. Any questions to the motion? Your pleasure on the motion? The motion is carried. And now we have 7 bylaws. A motion moved by Councillor Njima, seconded by Councillor McMillan, that leave be given to introduce the following bylaws. Number 2016-81-Z483 to amend zoning bylaw 93-14-Z1 as amended, La Vecchia. Number 2016-82-Z484 to amend zoning bylaw 93-14-Z1 as amended, Brown. Number 2016-83, a bylaw to deem part of a registered plan of subdivision not to be a registered plan of subdivision. In brackets, this is related to registered plans 82 and 520. Number 2016-84, to amend bylaw 89-2000, being a bylaw regulating traffic and parking on municipal roads related to speed limit reductions. Number 2016-85, to appoint a deputy mayor for the town of Lincoln. And number 2016-87, to authorize an agreement under the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund formula-based component. Any questions? Your pleasure. I'm sorry. Questions?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe the F was missed in the bylaw list.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Separates and charges, yes. Sorry, we'll just
The clerk will make that change. Thank you very much for your being so astute. Councillor Timmers, did you have something? Thank you very much. Councillor Foster.
Yes, thank you. Just that item around deputy mayor, just to clarify on the thing, as we'd agreed up front, I was going to be deputy mayor for the first 2 years, and you have rotating other members of council for the last 2 years. I guess it takes 6 of them to make up for me for the 2 years, so I appreciate that motion coming forward. Thank you.
All the consideration we can give, Councillor. Thank you very much. Yes, the first 4 months, Deputy Mayor will be Councillor Brunet, January, February, March, and April. Now, I'm not going to read this entire motion, but I will make a change so that The new F is number 2016-86, to set rates and charges for the supply of water and rates and charges for wastewater service in the town. And the new G is 2016-87, to authorize an agreement under the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund formula-based component. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Timmers and seconded by Councillor Brunet that bylaw number 2016-81-Z483, number 2016-82-Z484, number 2016-83, number 2016-84, 85, 86, 87. Could I see the other motion? Thank you very much. Be now read a second and third time and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk sign and seal the said bylaw. Your pleasure on the motion? The motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Are there any councillor inquiries? Is there any notice of motion? Are there any announcements? Mr. Clerk.
Madam Mayor, through you, just for the record, with respect to a couple of council-related matters, Town Hall will be closed December 26th through January 2nd, resuming normal business hours on January 3rd at 8:30 a.m., and we do have all the information posted on the website for anyone needing to access. Also, tonight is the last meeting of the year. The Finance and Administration Committee meeting, regularly scheduled for Monday the 26th next week, is canceled. And we also have a few cancellation in the first, few meeting cancellations in the first week and a half of 2017. The council meeting of January 2nd is canceled. The Sport, Recreation, and Culture Committee meeting of January 4th is canceled. And the Infrastructure Committee meeting of January 11th is canceled. The first official meeting for council in 2017 will be the Planning Committee meeting on January 9th. And then council's regular meeting schedule resumes on January 16th. And the one last announcement I'd like to make regarding that new meeting schedule is that Committee of the Whole meetings, originally planned to be held on the third Tuesday of each month, we're moving them to the third Wednesday of each month to eliminate a scheduling conflict with some other meetings. So those are the announcements that the clerk would like to make regarding council's meeting schedule.
Thank you very much. You have a motion? I have a motion moved by Councillor Timmers and seconded by Councillor Brunet that council adjourn to closed session in order to address A, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, a matter pertaining to advice from the town's solicitor regarding local agencies, boards, and committees. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. A matter pertaining to the Chief Administrative Officer performance appraisal. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. Thank you very much for those of you who attended this evening. Thank you, Luke. Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you very much, staff. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you very much for attending.